Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Android 2 video, NASCAR Heat 5. This is things I want in NASCAR Heat 5. I'm gonna give a lot of stuff, about maybe 20 different things that I'd like. So let's get into it. I'd like to leave your thoughts, comments in the description, things I might miss, things I don't know, things you disagree with, or just random other things. I like random stuff in the comments. That's why my comment videos exist. Alrighty, let's get into it now. First of it is an update spectator mode. I'd like to see a ticker like Fox does, or the older graphic like NBC still does from time to time, where it's where you have 4 drivers up top. Personally, I'd like to see what Fox does. That's what I'd prefer. And I'd also like to have custom numbers show up instead of just 88s. Like, make it be their actual number. You don't have to have the font and colors right, but just have it be the actual number. That's a huge help too. The camera angles are good, but it's hard to tell who's driving what car. So that's my thoughts. Career mode alignment, and I'll have a video out about that later, or I'll show you that later, but we'll get back to that later. I'd like to have better physics. I don't want to go flying through the air every time I, touch a car at Daytona. The custom cars, they could be better, and if they had about 10 to 20 different more designs. Most importantly, I would like to have different fonts for numbers instead of just 3 or 4. Even have some of the team fonts like Hendrick Motorsports for like 88. Like, you could have the 88 font in a different scheme. I'd like to have that. I'd like to have Eldora in Cup and Xfinity, because Eldora's cool, man. I'd like to have more free paint schemes, like, even if it's just 5, like, in each DLC, 5 completely random ones. I'd like to just have a few different paint schemes. Even if you could just choose some paint schemes, because I'm gonna be honest here, I don't really want the DLC. I just like to have a few more paint schemes than what I have, especially in Xfinity and trucks. The lack of paint schemes in there is kind of disgusting. So, yes. I'd like to have DNFs. The rating for teams in my career needs to change. If you have a star system, make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't feel like I really necessarily need to be specific, but specify each team at this particular point, but it could be much better than just 3 numbers. I'd like to see some exhibition races, the Clash, the All-Star race. I don't think there's anything for Xfinity and trucks unless I'm mistaken, but I'd like to have those. I'd like to have a trophy case to see what trophies I've won, because I've got 2 dirt championships, 2 truck championships, and 2 Xfinity championships. I'd like to have those on display somewhere, and maybe even a few trucks or dirt cars if you're on your team on display. And memorabilia too, if I could. Next is custom team name. In my career, it's really boring having to use channel racing. I think that's the best name that they've got, and that's saying something. Cautions, I like what they have, strict and relaxed, but I'd also like a middle, because personally, strict is way too strict and relaxed is way too relaxed. I need a middle. Caution replays. I'd like to see who calls the caution, because especially in the Daytona 500, I could only view myself in my career. A caution came out as I was about to make my move for first. I was in fourth, and I gained to third, and I thought I had second. I might have won, but I thought the caution came out, and I have no idea what caused the caution. And that's kind of frustrating to figure out. And I can't even go look at the replay because the replay doesn't show it. I'd like to see just not have your own driver always on the replays too. Track testing. I'd like to just run track by yourself just to learn it. Practice in career is the closest thing, but I don't want to run into Austin Hill every 5 laps at Martinsville in Xfinity Series. So, I'd like custom schedules. You pick the races you run. So, yeah. I'd like to have extra drivers in career so you can D&Q, especially in Daytona 500. I'm not the greatest qualifier. In fact, in the Xfinity race, I misread one of the cars. Instead of getting a super speedway car, I got a speedway car, and I qualified last, but I wasn't too terribly off the pace of second to last. I probably would have missed the race in real life. So yeah, I'd like to have you extra drivers so I can D&Q. Rookie stripes. We just need to have rookie stripes if I'm a rookie. Left side tire option. So if I don't know exactly tire wear and all those things, you could, instead of taking, if you get in a caution filled race, instead of taking four, you could short pit and take 2 right, and then you can wind up taking 4 next pit stop, or possibly take 2 left, short pit from your short pitting strategy, and then short pit again, and maybe try some strategy there with 2 rights. So yeah, I'd like to have a part-time schedule, slash go down, bushwhack, leech, whatever you want to call it. I'd like to do that in my career. Playoff spoiler, simple as that. I'd like to have a playoff spoiler on the playoff races. I'd like to, as a team owner, I'd like to employ drivers, because I'd love to do that as an owner, because I just don't want to let a bunch of people fire a bunch of people because I want to move up series. As another thing, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, I want to have a silly season in my career, because we all know the season isn't going to change. And for trucks, an example, my first year in trucks, I replaced Johnny Sauter at Thorsport, but Johnny Sauter was still driving, just at a 13, same paint scheme. I was driving the 13 now, but he was driving the same paint scheme, but for another team that I have no idea exists, and it doesn't exist. Another thing is drivers' consistent rating. What I mean by that is, how the rival system, it's flawed because Tyler Reddick in the Xfinity Series is my friend. He is a good friend of mine, sends me videos, but in Tyler Reddick in Cup Series, he hates me. He's my rival. That makes absolutely no sense, and I don't get it. Pro driver setups. I'd like to have pro driver setups just like in NASCAR, the game inside line, so you could run the same thing as Tony Stewart's running or whoever. I'd like to race drivers head-to-head at tracks, just to know you might stand, like say, Cole Custer is the best driver in Xfinity Series this year. I don't know if he actually is. I don't really care, but I'm just using an example. I'd like to race him at, say, Road America to say, is he better than me? Is he worse than me? I want to know where I stand compared to certain drivers without actually being in a full race with them. And now, I will be going over the soundtrack. Right now, 7 songs, simple. White Comic, This Ain't the End of Me. Riley Green, Numbers on the Cars. White Snake, Here I Go Again. Cletus T. Judd, I Love NASCAR. Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream. Eric Church, Talladega. Smash Mouth All-Star. And for the final thing that I want to talk about is the career mode alignment. I will use my good friend, I'll just screenshot this while you can see this. So you can see what I mean is that we can have an actual career mode alignment. So we have like tracks that are the same instead of running, I know the Truck Series and Xfinity Series. The Truck Series is always seems to be 2 to 3 races behind the Xfinity Series. I'd like it to actually stay the same. As you can see here, I've got the schedule pulled up to what it looks like in real life, and then I added the current dirt tracks. I heard they were going to be getting rid of Taggart, Jefferson, and DeBrin, but I threw them on there because that's what we got at this point. So yeah, and another thing is I'd like day to night transitions on online. I believe that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Click the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Andrew H21 signing out.